Hey everyone, I hope that you're well. If you're travelling right now and you're feeling a little helpless, a little homesick, I really hope that this video can help you out. If you're currently at home wanting to go on a trip but are quite anxious about it because you're worried about getting homesick, I also hope this video can help. And if you are neither of the above, thanks for being here anyway. I hope we can all learn something and help each other out. Now before we get started, I want you guys to feel as comfortable and relaxed as possible while watching this, especially if you're someone who's feeling homesick right now. So I want you to go grab your favourite drink, a hot drink, a tea, a coffee, a hot chocolate. Make sure you've got somewhere comfy to sit or lie down. I've obviously retreated into my lovely bed for this video, and maybe put some headphones in, especially if you're in a dorm room or in a common area or something. So once you feel comfortable, just take a deep breath in and a long breath out. I should start all videos like this. I feel very relaxed. Okay, so how to deal with and overcome homesickness while traveling. So first of all, what is homesickness? How do you know that you're feeling homesick? In short, homesickness is a longing for one's home during a period of absence from it. And believe it or not, most people will go through some level of homesickness at some point in their life or several points in their life. And for a lot of people, homesickness can be mild and pass very quickly. You might just feel like a little knot in your stomach or something that's just putting you off. However, the symptoms in homesickness can increase in severity, which can lead to loneliness, anxiety, nervousness. I have never actually suffered from any kind of severe homesickness. It's definitely not because I don't love my home, because I really do. I love my family, I love my friends, I love my dear bed. But I've never really been homesick. So why is that? What are the reasons people become homesick and how can we deal with it? That is the question that I'm going to be tackling in today's video. And I asked this question on Instagram, how do you guys get over homesickness? And I got some really interesting answers, some very contradicting answers, especially revolving around how often we should be keeping intact with our folks back home in order to have a healthy relationship with it. And I can really see why it must be confusing and actually quite stressful trying to figure out how you're going to get yourself out of this feeling of homesickness. Because on the one hand, we've got people saying cut all contact with home, keep as busy as possible, live life in the moment, be distracted, stick with that and you should forget about home life and feel fine. And on the other hand, we've got people saying that you should be texting home often, you know, FaceTime your mum, FaceTime your dog, make sure you're up to date with everything that's going on at home so you don't feel like you're missing out. Personally, I don't think anyone is incorrect, but I don't think that there is a definitive magic answer or easy cure. I think with all of this, it's just about being intuitive and everything in moderation. So with all that being said, I'm going to go through some step-by-step practical things that you guys can do right now, which will hopefully get you on the path back to feeling good, moving forward and having a healthier relationship with how you feel about home. And all of these tips are from real life travellers and backpackers who got in contact because they've been through this and this is how they overcome their homesickness. So the first step that's kind of really important to do first is to acknowledge the homesickness. If you're feeling homesick right now, accept and appreciate that you miss home because it means that you have a great place to go back to. Remember that home is a constant. It will always be there and you will return. You can perhaps write down how you're feeling right now. Take it all in and know that this feeling is not going to last forever. And finally, just have the knowledge and accept that homesickness can happen even if you never ever expect it. Travelling outside of your comfort zone can really bring out qualities in you that you don't even know exists, and homesickness is one of these, and it's so common and it's okay that you're suffering right now. Now what we're going to look at is ways to keep busy, because I think this really is the best way to kind of get over your homesickness. Not to say that you have to be busy the whole time, but if all you can think about is home right now, these are some really good ways to distract yourself and get your mind off of it, because you will have to do this at some point if you want to get over your homesickness. If you're not already and if you're comfortable with it, stay in a hostel where you'll be surrounded by other like-minded people who are wanting to do the same things as you on your trip. Stay in a dorm room so you can meet them really easily, but really try not to hide in your dorm room and be antisocial. Make the most of the opportunity of being around people who you could make really good friends with. Try and familiarise yourself with the area that you're in. Unpacking your bag could be something that really actually helps you with this. Just unpacking a few things in your bag in the hostel, which is going to make you feel a little bit more settled, a little bit more home in that place. Surround yourself with people and make plans with others. Like I said, this is going to be much easier in a hostel situation to meet other people, but really try to make plans with them. Ask what they're doing for lunch, if you want to make dinner plans together, if you want to go out for breakfast. I love asking people in my dorm room if they want to go out for breakfast. I find it just the most chill way to get to know someone. There's never any pressure because it's not like nighttime where you've got a drink and everyone's more alert. Most of the time you're just very chill. You've got the whole day ahead of you and it's just a really nice time to get to know someone. Try not to look at social media too much, especially if that's what's making you upset, seeing what people at home are up to. Something that I like to do often when I'm backpacking, if I just want to switch off and be in the present moment, is just to put my phone on airplane mode. And I'm not tempted to go on Instagram or just be messaging people back home, and I'm much more present where I am right there and then. And that will help you to engage and be present in the moment and interact with the people around you. When you start getting bored and you're just scrolling, that's probably when you're going to start overthinking as well, so more likely to make you homesick. So really just do what you can to stop yourself from that happening. Maybe treat yourself to something nice. You can go and get a massage, treat yourself to a night in with a takeaway. Or perhaps you've been staying in hostel dorm rooms the whole time and you're feeling a bit overwhelmed, you need a break. Book yourself into a really nice hotel room which has nice amenities and you're going to be treated nicely. This is an interesting one that I quite like. Embrace the new environment. Get comfortable with being uncomfortable. This is so true because wherever you travel in the world, it's going to present its challenges, it's going to put you outside of your comfort zone, but it's doing those things that make us grow as people, and I'm a strong advocate for pushing through these moments, so I really like that. Get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Engage in sport activity. Yes, this is one of my favourite things to do if I'm ever feeling just like completely all in my head. Because when you're doing something sporty, your heart's pumping, you might be sweating, you're releasing endorphins, you're focusing all your muscles and energy into that sport, and it's just a really good way to take your mind off whatever is stressing you out and worrying you. You don't have to be surrounded and talking to people the whole time in order to stay busy, especially if you're an introvert. This will not always appeal to you. The things that you can do by yourself that are still distracting is you can download your favourite movie on Netflix or a series. You could edit some of your new travel photos and videos, or you can start journaling, writing in a journal everything that you've been up to. Something that I really like to do, not just for the sake of my YouTube channel, but also just because it makes me feel so much more informed and full of knowledge, is writing down advice for other travellers. If I've learned something about that specific destination that I can tell someone else, I always make sure that I write it down, and then as well as it being in writing, you're much more likely to remember it as well. If you are wanting to make yourself more busy, I would recommend starting with making yourself busy in the daytime as opposed to going on nights out, because if you're someone who has a tendency to drink excessively and you get caught up in that scene whilst you're backpacking, I mean, that can be really fun, but if you're already feeling homesick or anxious, drinking excessively could make you a lot worse. So that's just something to bear in mind, something to be careful of. And the last one, anything to distract yourself until it passes, because it will pass. But just because you're keeping nice and busy, it does not mean that you have to completely cut contact with home. I don't think that's healthy. So I've got a few suggestions here from backpackers of ways you can connect with people back home, which will hopefully help you out as opposed to make things worse. So firstly, try and get a local SIM card so that you can connect when you want to and you don't have to rely on trying to find Wi-Fi somewhere. Sometimes it helps just to send a few texts. You're letting them know that you're alive, you're being made aware that they're alive, happy days. Someone's written, FaceTime the dog. Now, I think that would make you miss the dog even more. But I feel like sometimes you've just got to have these moments where you feel sad and you miss that person or that pet, but it's almost like you've got a bit of, I don't want to say closure because closure is the wrong word, but it's like you've had your fix of them, and then you can go about the rest of your day. You can distract yourself knowing that your dog's happy, but you're happy where you are as well. Eat your favourite foods from home. Go to McDonald's because there is a McDonald's everywhere in the world. That's an interesting point actually. There is nearly always a McDonald's and they're not always the same, so it is quite fun to see the differences in the different McDonald's. But maybe going to a familiar restaurant can make you feel more connected to home. Bring a tangible item that reminds you of home. Quite a lot of people have said this, especially little things like tangible photos as well can be good to flick through if you're missing your friends and family and you just want to see their faces. Give yourself a day to properly contact everyone at home, a proper chat, not just a few messages. I really like this method, and I would say that this is something that I definitely do on my trip. For the most part, I keep myself very busy. I'm not thinking about home too much. Like I might drop my mum a message every day or two, but then every week or so I spend a solid amount of time, like a good few hours, really connecting with everyone back home. So, you know, FaceTiming grandma, FaceTiming my sisters, my mum, my friends, having proper conversations with people. And then you kind of feel a sense of relief after that. You're like, right, okay, cool, I've proper caught up and now I'm ready to go on with the rest of my travels and I can keep myself busy for a while and I'm happy. And then you can do the whole thing again. I really like that one. Think about how proud your parents are of you that you're being so brave. This is so true and really important to remember. Someone has said, looking at the sky and knowing it's the same sky your friends and family are looking at back home. Aw, that's quite sweet. You're all still on the same planet. We are all connected. Someone has said, comparing the days left to where you were that many days ago. That's quite a nice point. Just seeing how far you've come on your trip, how much you've accomplished, and how much more you're capable of. So now we've had a look at ways that we can keep busy, ways that we can keep in contact with the people back home. So what now? What should we really focus on moving forwards to help us deal with the homesickness? Firstly, take one day at a time. If you're feeling homesick, you're probably feeling quite overwhelmed, and if you're thinking about the future, you're thinking about the past, you're thinking about so much, it's best just to focus on the day ahead of you. What have you got planned? Be in that moment, enjoy that day. Stay grateful. Think how lucky you are to be in the position that you are right now, traveling, doing something that you've always wanted to do, doing something that you've been working towards for such a long time, and also just grateful knowing that you come from somewhere that you miss so much. That is a really lucky position to be in, and really when you think of it like that, homesickness is a blessing. Remember that there are always ups and downs wherever you are, even at home. We all know that home life can never be perfect, so how is travel life supposed to be perfect as well? So this low, this down that you may be feeling right now is not going to last forever. It's all about balance. You are traveling where you are to live life to the fullest and be in that moment. You do not want your headspace to be back home, because then you might as well be back home. So it's really important to keep yourself busy and stay in the current moment. But if you put off speaking to family and friends or people from home life for a really long time, that's something that can cause underlying anxiety in the future, and it can start to build up. So it's important that every once in a while you take the time to really just transport yourself, your thoughts, your energy to home life, to your friends, to your family, reconnect with them, but then bring yourself back to the present. Have that balance. A lot of people told me that they get homesick because they feel like they're missing out on things that are going on at home right now. But you've got to remember why you took this trip in the first place. This trip which you were so excited about. This trip that may be outside of your comfort zone, but is so much greater to be here than it is back home. Really try and focus on that as opposed to the things that you might be missing back home. And if all else fails, you've got to make sure that you always have enough money for a flight back home, because look, despite everything I've said in this video, traveling is not for everyone. If we take ourselves back to my last point of remember why you're there in the first place. If you can't think of an answer to that question, if you can't think of why you're there in the first place, you can't think of why it's any better than your home life, if you're really just not enjoying the lifestyle of traveling, you can't see the greater good in the situation, you genuinely believe that life back home is better and that's why you're homesick, then that's okay too. At the end of the day, particularly in long-term travel and backpacking situations, it's not for everyone. You can't force yourself to like something or like somewhere and believe in it just because other people look like they're enjoying it. Well done you for trying though, and for going outside of your comfort zone in the first place, because that's a massive step. I'm a strong believer that you should try everything once. As a wise person once said, I'd much rather live a life of oh wells than what ifs. But perhaps maybe me saying that to you might make you realise, no, this is what I want to do. This is why I'm here, and I'm going to carry on pushing myself outside of my comfort zone. That's what I really want to hear. I really hope this video has helped some of you out. If you are out there feeling homesick right now, I believe in you to pull yourself out of this situation. I know it's hard, I know it's outside of your comfort zone, but what you're feeling, you're not going to feel forever, and you can do it. Be the strong, courageous, brave person that you've always wanted to be, and the person that you've wanted to prove to yourself that you can be by going on this trip. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!